welcome to the show. You are our very first guest picker on this show, and rightfully so. You won over 40 games at Oklahoma State. Congrats on a great career. We're so excited to have you.
Well, thanks for having me. I feel honored to be the first guest.
Hey, you won 40 games on the field. Let's see how you do picking games off of it, all right?
Well, we come to win, so let's go, baby.
Let's do it. Time to get loose. Starting with Houston at Cincinnati. Deion, who you got?
Well, I think I'm going to go with Cincinnati on this one. Although, Houston's had a pretty impressive non-conference, especially the way they came out and competed against OU. I like Corey Kiner, the running back for Cincinnati, and I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to go with the home team.
All right, I'm going to disagree with you, Deion. We're off to a rocky start. I like Willie Fritz in Houston to keep it rolling with Donovan Smith under center.
I am going to agree with you. I'm going with Cincinnati. All right, let's take a look at Kansas and West Virginia. Both teams sitting at 1-2. Who you filling in this one?
Well, Jaden Daniels does not look like the quarterback that we saw the last time he wore that Jayhawks jersey. It seems like him and the new offensive coordinator really aren't clicking that well. West Virginia, I mean, although disappointing loss versus Penn State and some of the other, and Pitt with the non-conference, I think they'll bounce back and be able to get this one over Kansas.
I'm going with the Jayhawks to win, more so than anything because they have to. And I think Jalen Daniels gets right.
Not great chemistry already. I'm going with West Virginia. I'm going with West Virginia. All right, Arkansas State at Iowa State. That game is at 2 o'clock Eastern on ESPN+. Deion, who you filling in this one?
Well, Iowa State all the way. You got to stay with the Big 12 here, and especially with Iowa State coming off a bye week and that big-time win over rival Iowa. So I'm going to go stay with the Cyclones.
I think we can all agree on this one.
Yep.
Iowa State, too, here.
Iowa State is mine as well. Arizona State at Texas Tech. Texas Tech with a big win in Week 3. Who you filling in this one?
Okay, Arizona State, they look good defensively. I mean, they've surprised some people, but here's the deal. Texas Tech passing game with Morton at quarterback is looking pretty good. There's some holes in the Arizona State secondary, so I'm going to stick with Texas Tech's Red Raiders.
Yeah, sounds like a guy who played a couple of games in Lubbock. I'm going with Texas Tech, too.
I'm going with Texas Tech as well. Okay, now time for a crosstown rivalry. TCU and SMU, a little Big 12 ACC matchup. Both teams sitting at 2-1 on the season. This game's at 5 o'clock Eastern on the CW. Deion, who you like in this one?
Well, after a tough loss last week to UCF in their first kind of Big 12 matchup, that wasn't a Big 12 matchup, I think TCU is going to be able to bounce back. I mean, they got to figure out how to slow down the rushing attack. I mean, UCF, took advantage of that in the second half, but I think they can get it done here.
Yeah, I like TCU as well. Josh Hoover not getting enough credit.
I like TCU as well. That's my pick. Baylor at Colorado. This is a big-time game as well. Both teams 2-1. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern on Fox. Deion, who you like, Colorado or Baylor?
Now, I know y'all didn't think y'all were going to invite somebody named Deion, and he wasn't going to pick
right.
Deion Sanders. So I'm going with the Colorado Buffaloes. They're going to go ahead and take care of those Baylor Bears.
Yeah, I like primetime and primetime as well. I like Colorado.
Can't really pick against Coach Prime. Kansas State versus BYU. This is a late game, 10:30 on ESPN. Deion, who you filling in this one?
Man, guys, that BYU defense looks pretty good. I mean, they're going to shock some people this year, but Kansas State, they looked really dominant versus Arizona last week, and then Avery is looking to be the quarterback that everybody hoped he would be. I mean, that passing is a little iffy, but that rushing attack is dangerous. So give me the Kansas State Wildcats.
Yeah, once again, we're in unison. I like Avery Johnson and Kansas State, showing the nation just how good they are on the road in Provo.
Time now for our last pick, our biggest pick. It's Utah and Oklahoma State, two undefeated teams. Deion, it's a top 15 matchup, 4 o'clock Eastern on Fox. I do feel kind of silly even asking you this, considering your background, but who you got in this one?
Well, no bias, no bias. But the question is can Bowman stay consistent with his performance last week versus Tulsa? And can this offense finally run the football? Now, I think that they'll be able to kind of get some things done, but this game is going to be won between the trenches, all right? Defensive line, offensive line, whoever's tougher, that's the one that's going to get the W. I think because of the fact that Utah is looks like Cam Rising's going to play, but defensively, the linebackers, they seem to be banged up a little bit, as well as some young defensive backs. Give me the Oklahoma State Cowboys to kind of get this victory at home. Going to be a close one.
You see how he went in on that one, right? I can't believe we even let this dude pick that game. But yeah, I'm going to disagree. Cam Rising's back for Utah. I like the Utes.
I'm going with the Cowboys as well. Deion and I here on the same page. Deion, you set the bar really high as our first guest picker. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.